Now we got some great aerial shots of a recent meet in the course here on the South Campus at the University of Colorado. Back in the Buffalo Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, Mark Wetmore. He had a split team deal going on this past week with cross country. Let's start out with, it's my favorite. It's not a serial, it's a race. The Nutty Comb in Wisconsin. Tell us a little bit about what happened there.
The Nutty Comb Invitational, hosted by the University of Wisconsin, is the biggest, most competitive cross-country invitational in the country. Basically, it's the Nationals 5 weeks ahead of time.
Okay.
This year it was pretty much all the contenders minus Oklahoma State, who had a meet at home. But of the top 25 teams, it was totally loaded. 23 on the women's side, 21 on the men's side.
And the men and women each finished in the top 10.
Yeah, 8th and 9th, or 9th and 8th, or something like that. Not a great day.
Okay.
But we got time to fix it. Maybe. Maybe.
One thing I'm always fascinated, Mark, when you and I talk about cross country, it's the preparation. You know, in football, you get ready for that game this week.
Yeah.
You're building the entire season. So kind of talk about the way your two sides performed on Saturday.
I do not envy that football finishes a game on a Saturday night and lands at 3 a.m. on Sunday and leaves again on Friday. There's no time to make adjustments, no time to change their fitness. We usually have 2, sometimes even 3 weeks to go back to work, which is the case. Nutty Comb happened on Friday. We have 12 or 13 days to do some more work.
As you're evaluating the men's and women's side of your team right now, kind of tell us how you feel about both those sides. And is one side more dominant than the other at this point? About
the same on both sides, that we haven't run well yet. Things that haven't been great can be fixed. We're about to go to the Pac-12, where the Stanford men are extremely good, and the Stanford women were ahead of us, but not out of reach.
Right. There's things still to work on, and there's still time to work on. You know, we've got many great programs for the student athletes here at the University of Colorado. One of them is the STEPS program.
So tonight is mainly just so that college athletes and college students can have an athlete plan after college to know what they're doing and to just be able to make those connections with people like in the big world. And it's important for us to focus on being a student as much as it is being an athlete, because we learn how we take our athletic characteristics and use them towards school, and how we can use the strengths that we learn through our sport and apply them to school in the real world. Tonight I learned that for myself, I can usually talk about things that I'm more comfortable and I am familiar with, rather than talking about things I just learned about and being put on the spot. It really got me out my comfort zone, because it made me explore things outside of my knowledge and really try to connect with what we learned here tonight. I'm really happy that the University of Colorado offers programs like this, because it helps me recognize my weaknesses and strengths and what will be most beneficial for me to take after my career in sport, how to navigate the real world, how to be more comfortable with the business world instead of just being comfortable with the athletic world.
We get a look at the STEPS program here at the University of Colorado as we continue talking cross country with Mark Wetmore. Okay, we talked about the Nutty Comb, what was going on in Madison, Wisconsin. You had the other half of your team in California, where the Pac-12 is going to be, right? Tell us about that.
USC is the host of the Pac-12 next weekend. They are borrowing Cal Riverside's course, which we got to see, or some of our team got to see. Coach Nelson took a group out last week. Coach Burrows flew out a couple of weeks ago to preview the course. It helps us to know the footing, know the terrain, know the weather, know the parking lots, etc. So, yeah, there was a group at Riverside last week, and we learned some useful things.
What do you learn, or what are you looking for when you kind of survey a course, if you will?
Well, what's the footing like? How big are the hills? Is it the right distance? Sometimes they're mismeasured. In this case, this course coming up is much flatter and faster and better footing than where we just were. So it helps for us to have that in our minds and make adjustments in our shoes.
You feel that where you're at right now, you said Stanford's very good on the men's side.
Yeah.
Are the men and women at Colorado, you feel you can go in and compete for a championship?
The men will have to have a very good day. The women, it's a little more attainable for them. They'll go in ranked 3rd. I think they'll be behind Utah even. But I suffer from optimism, and I see ways that both teams can be a lot better in 11 days.
All right. So you feel good in between here and 11 days from now. You can make some great strides in that period of time?
Well, we can do a couple of good hard sessions, but mainly our task is when to rest. And you don't want to rest so much in September and October that you're out of shape by November. But now it's time. Now we can Yeah, we can dial it back a little bit and get well fueled up and maybe a little more rested for the Pac-12 than usual.
So I love talking to Mark. You know, you think they're just running. There's so much more to it than that. It's fascinating. Good luck in the
Thank you.
Pac-12s.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for having
Mark
me.
Wetmore and the cross-country team getting ready for the Pac-12 championships coming up in 11 days. As we put a wrap this week in the Buffalo Stampede, I'm voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.